And now I'm here in the kitchen with Chef Dean. We are going to make some pasta. Tell me about this.
Well, we're going to make some pasta. You are correct. This is my grandmother's recipe. So in years past, when I asked Grandma how to make pasta, she's an old Italian grandmother. We called her Noni or Nona. And I said, Grandma, or Noni, I want to make pasta. And she says, all right, here's what you do. You take a handful of flour. I was like, my hand or your hand? How do you do it? Oh, just listen, just a handful of flour. You take a handful of flour. You take a little bit of salt, a little bit of water. Oh, I'm sorry, half an eggshell of water, like a grade egg or large, jumbo, what you talking about? She said, why do you ask so many questions? And so, you're making me drink the wine. Is what you, so I had to figure out Grandma's archaic math, and so what it is, it's a 1 cup of flour. Okay, we're going to do 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, one egg, 1.5 tablespoons of water, and that's just a traditional recipe. But we're going to stuff this pasta today with butternut squash. So what I have here is his butternut squash.
And you've already cubed that up.
I'm going to cube this up. Well, it's already cubed up, and I'm going to add a little salt and pepper and olive oil. And we're going to toss that together and have a little garlic in there as well. And then we're going to put it on a pan and put it in the oven.
All right, let's do it.
A little olive oil, approximately a 1/4 cup. Then we're just going to toss that around.
And that's ready to go in the oven then? How long and how hot?
We're going to put it on 350 degrees for 30 minutes.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to make the pasta. We need 1 cup of flour, and we're going to use all-purpose flour for this because there's not a strong gluten, it's not a weak gluten, it's kind of in the road kind of thing. 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 egg, 1.5 tablespoons of water. So we'll take this, 1 tablespoon. 1/2 tablespoon, oops, that's not a half, that's a 1/2 tablespoon. And about 1 tablespoon of salt. Okay, this is when we get our hands dirty.
Awesome.
And we need to make sure this pasta, the dough, is the right consistency. If it's not the right consistency, if it's too sticky, it won't go through the machine. If it's too floury, we'll struggle, so.
And that's something you just kind of have to learn by doing, right?
Yeah. We're going to roll it out first before we put it in this pasta machine, okay? But I want to feel it to make sure that it's right. Think you can help me?
I can.
Okay.
So would your Grandma have approved of the pasta machine?
No.
Okay.
She would not approve the pasta machine. She rolled that out by hand. Fold this and run it through again. It's very important when we run we run the seam side through first.
Okay.
If we don't run the seam side through first, it'll bunch up. Okay?
All right,
If we
and
run
the same thickness?
Same thickness for now until we get the consistency that we're looking for. Perfect, that's beautiful pasta. Just push that button and turn that to 2.
So it's getting thinner.
Thinner, yes. The bigger the number, the thinner it's getting.
All right, we finished our second sheet of pasta. They look wonderful. Now what do we do?
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to egg wash this pasta here.
All right, so we've just beat up 1 egg.
Get
right?
1 egg, a little bit of water, okay? We're going to egg wash it so it works as a glue when the 2 pastas come together. And we're going to put our squash here, and then we're going to cut them out with our ravioli cutters.
And this is the squash that we roasted, and then we pureed it.
Yes, and we added a little Parmesan cheese to it as well.
Nice.
Okay, 1 there. Okay, we're going to put that one there on top of that one. And I just want to make sure that it gets sealed down. And so we'll just push. we're going to rework this pasta and cut it into pasta
Okay.
strips.
You've already got some sauce started here. What's in here already?
This sauce is made from tomatoes from my garden. I took the tomatoes, we cooked them down, we added some wine, we added some garlic, we added a little bit of tomato paste, we added some herbs, which is basil, oregano, and cooked it for about 4 or 5 hours, and then it's ready to go. Salt, pepper, things like that. We take our pasta and we put it in the water, and again, this is going to cook extremely quick. This is fresh pasta.
So we've just got steamy water there. It's not boiling.
Not a rolling boil, and it's not necessary. Okay, now the pasta's ready. We're going to strain the pasta out of the water,
All right.
but we're going to save the water because we're going to use the water for our ravioli
Okay.
because it's already hot and we don't have a ton of pasta here to mess with. But it's real important once we get the pasta out of the water that we have to hit it with a little bit of olive oil
So it doesn't all stick together.
so it doesn't all stick together. You know, back in the olden days, you know how you knew your pasta was done? Threw it up
Stick to
against
the
the
wall,
wall, right, right. We don't do that anymore.
Really, no one?
No one. All right, so that's ready to go. Now we're ready to cook our raviolis.
Okay.
We'll just put those in here. We'll just drop them in the water.
All
Again,
right,
we don't want our water to be a rolling boil.
Because that'll break them up, right?
We don't want to break them up. Right, exactly. So those are sitting there nice. And occasionally they'll float, but we'll just push them down a little bit. So
All right.
give those a few minutes. As these raviolis cook, we're going to finish our sauce.
All right.
I have a secret ingredient with my sauce, and my secret ingredient is heavy cream. I do about 25% heavy cream to 75% sauce. But I want to make sure this cream is warm before I mix it into my sauce because I don't want it to break or curdle or anything like that.
All right. So we're just warming that up a little
Just
bit.
warming that up just a pinch. All right. So I'm going to pour the cream into the sauce, and then I'm going to whisk the sauce as I pour.
Okay.
And then we're going to finish it off with a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
All right.
And it also helps thicken up the sauce a little bit. Sauce is done. Now we're ready to plate. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to cover our noodles with a little bit of sauce just so we get the right color, okay? So we'll take our noodles and put them in the saute pan. Add just a little bit of sauce. A little bit of basil.
Let's try some.
Right.
It's so delicious. And the squash really comes through, and that creamy sauce really complements it. That is fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, we've had our pasta. Now it's time for a little something sweet. What are we
Right.
going to make?
We're going to have a little biscotti,
Nice.
a little cookie that we're going to have with our cappuccino that we're going to make here in a little bit.
That sounds fantastic. Does it make me hopelessly American to say biscotti? Do I need to?
Yeah, that's not the right way to say it.
I'll work on it, all
we
right?
say stuff in America, biscotti. We say stuff in America.
So you're going to mix up the dry stuff, and I'll work on the wet stuff?
Right. Add your sugar.
All right.
I'll mix up the flour, the cocoa, coffee, baking powder. Okay, and you can add the butter and the vanilla whenever you're ready. Is that for you? You got it?
Got it, yep.
All right. Just give that a quick mix and just make sure everything's incorporated. And then we're gonna dump it in here.
All right.
All right. Then we're gonna add the almonds as well. So if you wanna grab those almonds and dump those in here.
All right. You mix this by hand?
I mix it by hand. Okay, I'm going to basically cut this in half and pour part out on each side. Then I have to put my hands in flour or it'll just stick and gum up my hands.
Sure.
This is ready to go into the oven.
All right, for how long and how hot?
We're gonna put it in at 350 for about 25 minutes.
All right. All right, the first bake is done.
Right. So it just came out of the oven. And this is not ready. This is soft on the inside. We want a crunchy cookie on the inside. So we're gonna cut these.
All right, so they're all sliced up, and now it's time for the second bake.
Right, and we'll put this back in the oven 10, 15 minutes. We'll fill and see if there's a little give, and if there's a little give, then we'll leave them in the oven for 5 more minutes.
All right,
Okay?
and still 350 degrees?
Still 350 degrees. Yes, ma'am.
The biscotti are out of the oven. We've let them cool, and they're nice and crisp. That's important, right?
Right, yep. We want them nice and crunchy. We're gonna hit them with a little bit of powdered sugar.
All right.
Okay.
And they're perfect with a hot beverage because they just soak up.
Right, like a sponge.
Yeah.
They just soak up that hot
All
coffee.
right.
So which one do you want?
Oh, goodness, I think I'll pick this one.
And I'll take this one.
All right. Wonderful. Salud.
Salud.
That is really wonderful. It's a mild chocolate flavor. It's not an overly sweet cookie, but pairing it with a hot beverage makes it divine. Chef Dean, thank you so much.
Thank you.